How to keep ahead of your mountain of work when you feel like you're getting further and further behind. Welcome, Authentic Leaders. Have you ever felt overwhelmed? Like your to-do list keeps getting bigger and bigger. You're just not making forward progress. Those things that are the really big, urgent priorities that have to get done keep jumping ahead of these things that are really lower priorities. And then in time, those low priorities then become big priorities. I mean, how do you get ahead in those types of situations? This happens to me at least weekly, sometimes even more. I just feel like I'm never getting ahead from all the things that I know must be getting done. When this happens to me, I make time to just make incremental progress on many of those very small, lower priority tasks, just so I can stay ahead of them. And I don't have to complete these tasks. I just simply have to start them. Just simply starting some of these lower priority activities makes me feel like I'm getting ahead. And really I am. What I'm doing is I'm creating momentum that I didn't have before. And that momentum builds upon itself. I have to ignore this temptation to move this priority down. Even blocking this time to work on these lower priorities, that in and of itself will get pushed down because of what feels like even more urgent and more important things. To resist that temptation, I play a little mind game with myself and I try to imagine that this block of time that I'm giving to these lower priority tasks I treat it like an appointment, like an emergency appointment. Imagine, what if you had an emergency doctor's appointment? Wouldn't other things just kind of fall around it? You would still get the important work done. It'll just fall around that time that you've made. I'll do this activity, like I mentioned earlier, at least once a week. Sometimes it's even twice a week. And I will block, maybe it's 1 hour, sometimes 2 hours. If I really have to feel like I'm getting ahead, I may even do as much as 3 hours where I will block that time. Nothing else gets in the way. It's my highest priority to just make incremental small progress on these smaller priorities. I don't have to do any more than just start them. I will allocate 15, maybe 20 minutes to each one of these lower priority activities just to start. Sometimes it might be as simple as opening Microsoft Word and typing the title and a general outline of something that I need to work on. Other times it might be spending a few minutes to write some notes in a notebook or to begin a draft of an email that I know that I'm ultimately going to need to send. I allocate just a little bit of time for each one of these priorities, sometimes maybe 10, 15, or maybe as much as 20 minutes, because I know I'm committing to only starting them. And that tight window, the small amount of time, actually forces me to be very productive. I only have 10 minutes. Let's just see how much can I get done in just 10 minutes. And then I'm committing to cut it off and move on to the next low priority thing that I need to just get started. Sometimes I will surprise myself in these lower priority activities, something that feels like it might take a little longer. Sometimes I actually complete them in like 10 or 15 minutes. And now guess what? Now it's done. And that low priority activity never becomes a high urgency later on down the road. You probably have some low priority activities right now. My challenge to you is to start a list. Take 5 minutes right now. Write down a list of some of those low priority things that has been just kind of rolling around in your brain. It's taking up cycle time in your brain. Just list out those little things that, I need to get to these, but they're just not urgent right now. I bet you could identify 5 things to put on your list right now. My challenge to you is to take those 5 things, look at your calendar right now. When's the first time this week that you could block 1 hour just to get started on each of those 5 things? Put them in order, commit to just 10, 15 minutes for each one of those just to get started. I'd love to hear from you. Put some comments below. Let me know, what are some of the 5 low priority activities that you identified in this exercise that you need to just get started this week? Let me know how that goes and when you're committing to actually work on those 5 things.